Wow, Omar, what's wrong, man?
Fucking playing this retro game.
How is it?
Shitty, this fucking shitty ass game.
Well, I guess you could say we're gonna go back to the past. Gang, welcome to Legion of We episode number Who Gives a Fuck?
No one's counting. Not even us.
No. I graduated from school, I don't have to count no more.
That is the whole point of old school. Make it count for no reason.
Indeed. So, I'm Rick, aka Hypermetal Sonic, as per usual, and my hetero life mate.
Me, Omar, aka Fromar, aka Omarlobo, aka... You know, me.
aka Big Bubba.
Big Bub.
That's what they called him in the
Playing
pen.
so they call me a lot of things in the pen, man. You have no idea.
I don't have any idea, and I'm glad I don't. Which reminds me, remembering you in jail, retro video games.
Yeah, good times, man, good times. I remember when I was in jail.
Smuggled Pac-Man up Jimmy's ass.
Dude, yes. Well, that's not the only thing I smuggled there. I mean, I also smuggled some snacks. I snuggled with that though. Like, that fucking card is sweet to snuggle with. You have no idea.
I don't have any idea because I've never been to jail. I'm not cool enough to get arrested.
Oh, it's good. Dude, come on. We can, you and I. Yeah.
All right. Well, after we get arrested for the most debauched podcast ever about retro gaming, we'll do it.
It probably will happen.
It will.
Most definitely. So, let's start with Mega Man X. Thoughts, my friend?
Well, Mega Man X was a game I never played when it first came out, and my first exposure to the series, well, X series, mind you, not Mega Man in general, but to the X series was actually on the PlayStation 2 with the very, very mediocre Mega Man X7. So, going from that piece of shit to Mega Man X when I bought the collection just blew my fucking mind.
It should, man. It should. Like, that's actually something that makes me kind of sad. The way Mega Man in general has kind of been in decline.
Yeah, he's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of Capcom now.
Yeah, it's just depressing. Entirely depressing.
Indeed. I mean,
we're talking about retro stuff. Let's go with the golden gems still. What do you think of Mega Man? Well, let's start with the first three, which are like the original ones. After that, I just kind of went on to PlayStation and shit like that.
Yeah, that's when they sold out.
Yeah, I really think that even though a lot of people like X4, I think that X1 to X3 are the best ones.
Definitely. I concur with that sentiment.
What do you think, in general, is your favorite?
My
X1
favorite?
to 3.
Probably just gonna keep it generic and simple. Number one all the way.
Really?
Indeed.
I'm gonna agree with that, but I think it's mostly nostalgia. Because that was my Mega Man, and I fucking love that thing, man. I have memories of me playing in rainy days.
I mean, it's just so badass with the story, you know, fucking Zero.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking blowing shit up. Saving your ass left and right.
You know what I like the most, though?
What do you like the most?
The armor.
The armor was cool, like upgrading it and what have you?
Fuck yeah.
And changing your appearance.
That's the thing that I remember struck me the most as a kid. I was like, oh shit, it's changing and it's staying that way.
Whoa, and now I'm stronger.
Yeah, and then
I'm
it's
doing
all
shit.
the new abilities. Like the helmet to break the blocks and whatnot. Oh, dude. So many good memories with that game.
So many good. Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, mine aren't as old as yours, but I certainly have memories nonetheless.
What's your strategy when you start a Mega Man game?
Say what?
What's your strategy when you start a Mega Man game?
When I start, like, my strategy?
Yeah, there's like the robot bosses. Did you go for a specific pattern? Do you go with what's the efficient way?
Oh yeah,
What's working with what?
usually I just look up a guide to see like what's a good one to start out with, like who's a good boss to fight first. So kind of like the rock paper scissors shit to see, which item to get first, and just go down
What?
the list like an assassin.
That's fucking cool, man. You're cold.
I am, but they're robots. They don't have feelings or souls.
Well, that also sounds a lot like you. Are you a robot?
Yes,
Oh shit, man.
it does not compute.
Top secret information here. We'll have to cut this out.
The government's just gonna come in and knock you out, and then this is the end of the show.
That will be a tragedy. So let's just move on, my
Okay.
friends. Pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah. Shh.
So hi, gang. We're talking about Mega Man X. Nothing happened at all.
Yeah. The game sucks. Let's move on. No, I can't even do that. I can't even lie. We can't lie to the people. Mega Man X is fucking awesome. It's the
Yes.
best game ever.
Yes.
That's
I
not
agree.
true, but it's pretty good.
It is one of my top games.
One of your top games, I could see that. I wouldn't say it's probably one of my top games, probably just because I didn't grow up with it like a lot of other people did. But I appreciate it.
I just think it's a really well done game. Like, even if I
Definitely.
hadn't grown with it, for example, I didn't grow with Mega Man X 2 or 3.
Mm.
2 I didn't even hear about, to be honest, and 3 I just thought it looked amazing, but I could never get a copy. That game was like super rare in here,
Hmm.
so I couldn't try it until I got. I'm not sure if emulators or the X collection for my GameCube, one of
Hmm.
the two. But even then, I still appreciate the dedication in them. I like Fighting Zero and 3, I think it is.
I think so. I don't remember too much of 2 or 3.
I'm wrong. I think it's 2 actually.
2.
2, yeah. Either way, I just really think that they're really well done games. I like the animations, the sprites, just
Hmm.
the way Mega Man moves. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's a very, very, especially compared to classic Mega Man, very smooth, fluid motions in the
Yeah, definitely.
controls. Heck,
And fuck, you have wall jumping. Who doesn't like wall
wall jumping was probably one of my favorite parts.
of Mega Man or gaming in that era?
Oh, I mean, in real life too, I just love jumping up and down walls.
Oh, dude, that's great.
No, but in Mega Man, I thought I was just. I mean, usually when wall jumping shows up in games, like, hey, that's cool. But for the most part, just Mega Man is like, yeah, this just I don't know, just doesn't add too much to it, but at the same time, it's
It
just a
feels
little extra.
right.
It does.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's some games where wall jumping just seems like an extra and something you don't really use.
Hmm.
Mega Man to a degree is that, unless you're like falling all the time, which you shouldn't be. But if you're falling all the time, where you can just like save yourself.
Hmm.
But I don't know, it feels something basic for Mega Man games, kind of like jumping or shooting. It just feels like very crucial to me.
Jump and shoot. Yep.
Jump and shoot the game.
um, have you by chance seen? Do you know who Ego Raptor is on YouTube?
Hell yeah.
Have you seen his Mega Man X video?
The sequelitis one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cheapen us at all or anything, but I highly recommend everybody after they're done listening to this check out Ego Raptor's Sequelitis series and his Mega Man X video because he goes way in depth into that game, more than we ever could, and it's just a phenomenal video that just analyzes that game very well.
Definitely. He also did it for Castlevania.
He did, yeah, Castlevania IV, which is another game that a Super Nintendo game that I'm a pretty big fan of. Sorry about
I
that.
am too, my friend.
All right,
All good. Hey, dude, retro sounds. I'm digging it.
you're digging it,
I'm digging it.
yeah.
Castlevania 4. Good thing you mentioned it because that game is fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, it's probably one of my favorite Castlevania games because, like we discussed in the last episode, continuity. Um, I'm bigger on the classic Vania more than the Metroidvania, though I still love that. But I'm really into the classic Vania shit, so that just took the NES games, which is kind of the NES's thing, like with Mega Man and now with Castlevania. Like they just took the predecessors and just like fucking pumped them up with fucking steroids and just made them better in every single way possible. And they did, because Super Castlevania 4 has amazing music, sweet graphics, and being able to whip in any single direction is awesome.
It's also really weird because the movement is not all that great if you think about it objectively,
Hmm.
but it still feels good.
It does,
It feels responsive, even though you're just jumping in an arc and
and
you cannot really alter that arc.
and it's still better than the NES ones.
Oh, definitely.
The
I
controls,
mean,
I mean, they're not as
yeah, yeah, yeah.
stiffer, but it's not as smooth as say Mega Man X, but it's a good improvement. But yeah, there's still like noticeable clunkiness to it.
The thing is that I think it's a design decision because if a Castlevania game was very smooth
Mm.
and felt like with good controls, it's gonna sound very,
It would be Lord's Shadow.
oh god, completely different matter. But no, like if you have, for example, Mega Man X controls or a platformer in general,
Mm.
I think it'd be very easy and not as fun.
Mm.
I think it would be just kind of bland to just, those platforms where you just jump on a few enemies and it's kind of like, eh.
Mm.
I think the bad controls give it a Castlevania feeling
It's
that
because
you can't replicate with anything else.
it's because Castlevania is a fucking journey, man.
It
You're
is.
Simon Belmont, and you're gonna go through hell and back to get to Dracula. Mega Man, it's just all like saving the world,
Oh yeah, that's not
blowing
important.
shit up, Michael Baying it up.
It was
Castle,
Michael Bay of the '90s.
but Castlevania is all gritty and
Well, think about it this way. In Mega Man, you need to move fast because the action is very fast paced, and if you want to keep the action going, you need to be able to move fast.
mhm,
However, in Castlevania, I think part of the quote unquote dread you have is because you need to do every action very
precisely.
deliberately. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you need to calculate everything you're
mhm,
doing.
yeah. You can fuck up, but you can't fuck up too much in that game.
Oh, definitely, especially in like the levels where it's like the clock tower and whatnot
Uh,
with Medusa heads.
Medusa. I hate Medusa.
Oh,
Sh-
that's just no
She's
fucking around.
she's a fucking cunt.
Dude, she really is. You know what? The game also had controls that were kind of bad, except I think they're worse in Castlevania.
What game was that?
Super Ghosts and Ghosts.
Never played it.
Dude, really?
Never.
Oh, like the
Oh,
basic
I
stuff,
know of the
right?
series. Just
Well,
never played that one.
all right. To give you some description, imagine the jump from Castlevania. Imagine that to be a bit more stiff, longer, and you get a double jump,
Ooh.
and that's what it moves like.
Ooh.
It's
That's good.
really fun. It's a
Yeah.
challenging game.
Oh yeah, I've heard.
But
I,
sometimes, like in the first level, is where you see the control issues. Oh
mhm.
god.
Not very forgiving, and it's kind of the game's fault. Like in Castlevania, in Castlevania 4, the older NES Castlevanias were pretty shittily made. So, well, not that far, but there's a lot of problems in it where if you do die, it's not necessarily your fault; it's the game's fault. But in Castlevania 4, if you die, it's usually your fault.
Yeah, it's because you fucked up. You didn't
Mm.
see something, or you just mistimed something.
Yeah, like the knockback in Castlevanias 1 through 3 were terrible. Like you get hit by an enemy and you fly back a mile and you fall in a hole, and that's not very cool. But in this one, in 4, that's fixed. It's not as bad.
Yeah,
The
it
level
was.
design's
Speaking
better.
of, that's a lot like in Ninja Gaiden.
Uh huh.
Did you ever play that?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Oh, which did you play?
Wait, which one? The classic ones or the new ones?
No, the classic ones.
Classic. Yeah, I played the first one.
The one thing that I can think of that the second one improved on the first one was the fact that you could like move up and down walls.
Hmm.
Because in the first one, when you stick to a wall, you just stay there.
Yeah, it's like you're glued there.
Yeah, and she can hit you, and you're just stuck there, and it puts you in very awkward situations. You can jump away, but usually doesn't help that much. However, that series, oh my god, everything makes you fly like half the screen.
that's that's fine. It's and that kind of stuff that's a turn off to me. Like
What, the flying back?
yeah, like games that are just like way too ridiculous and just poorly designed and planned and I mean, like I know Ninja Gaiden is very popular, but hearing shit like that just was like no thanks. I do not want to play 2 or 3 now. One was enough for me.
Well, did you enjoy it overall?
Eh, it was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you turn Brooks Bonnie when you play a game, you probably don't want to play the sequels.
Yeah, what's up, Doc?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, don't bother then. So I was gonna say, if you enjoyed it in the very least, Gaiden 2,
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't hate it, but like, it just doesn't stand out to me.
then it's not worth playing it.
Yeah.
The third one supposedly is the hardest because you actually have limited continues,
Uh,
but the game overall is much easier.
oh, that's good.
However, it did improve. I mean, it just looks better, plays better, and I guess you could say it's a better game, but I'm not very fond of it anyway. My favorite one is still the second one. I think that was the peak of Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, it peaked and then it just
It just came out
fizzled.
again.
It fizzled.
It was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Ninja Gaiden 3 is the fizzle. You're getting some bubbles there.
What about you've never played the newer ones, have you?
No, I wanted to play Ninja Gaiden Black, but I never got a chance to, sadly.
Yeah, I've never gotten to play those either, so I don't know if the newer ones are because I hear they're pretty unforgiving also, but I just don't know if they're
I,
fun or not.
well, supposedly they're very fun, but they're unforgiving in a different way. Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 was mostly about the platforming parts.
Hmm.
This is just pure combat. It's like Devil May Cry except more fast paced.
Hmm.
Um, Personally, I don't really enjoy Devil May Cry all that much. I only play 4,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I've only beaten 4. Also,
what do you think of it?
I liked it. I think Devil May Cry is pretty fun. It's kind of funny though. I wasn't too fond of the new character in that game because
Hmm.
I knew of Dante and kind of his story arc and what have you. So I wasn't fond of the new character, but actually I liked the way the new character played more than Dante. So I preferred playing as the new character more.
Yeah, and then they change it up, and you need to play with that, and you go, "Fuck, where's my arm?"
Yeah, and but other than that, like it didn't make me want to go back and play. Or well, I played the other ones. I just never beat them. It didn't make me want to go back and beat those. And it sure shit doesn't have me interested in the new one coming out. That looks terrible.
Yeah, they change a lot of them.
Yeah, but it was fun. I bought it for like $10 or $15. It was worth it.
I played it, and I couldn't play it. I couldn't beat it. I got bored. Just like, just fuck it, man. I'm just gonna do something else. And I tried twice, and just
Yeah, I,
didn't work.
I was slightly confused by the story because um, I didn't know what was going on necessarily in relation to the other games, so that didn't help.
Well, from what I remember, the girl goes into Dante's office. Trish, I think her name is,
Oh.
goes into Dante's office, tries to kill him, and then she asks for his help. And he goes, "Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, sure. I like some ass, man."
Well,
And
yeah, that's not a fucking retro game. What are we talking about?
well, to a degree, it is. I mean, the first one came out in what, PlayStation 1?
PlayStation 2.
Oh, it's not that retro then.
It's retro.
It's older, alright?
It's retro for kids that were born 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, I just feel like anything in the GameCube era is kind of retro right now.
Yeah,
It's been quite a while now, I think.
has been the Xbox has been out for 7 years. PS3, Wii's been out for 6.
7 years is kind of retro. Nah, well, not retro in that sense, never mind. That's just some stupid thinking about it.
I,
Either way, it's older than the new shit.
well, I mean, in a couple months it'll be 2 generations old when we got the Wii U coming out. So just depends how you look at it, how you want to look at it. I mean,
Yeah, I guess. I always consider Super Nintendo retro and Nintendo, and that's it. Well,
Yeah,
I'm previous. But now I guess Nintendo 64 is retro as well.
yeah, I think yeah, I'd consider N64 retro. But that's just me. What do I know? I'm not a historian.
But you sure should play Nintendo 64 games, didn't you?
I did plenty of them,
Such as.
such as like Toy Story 2, Bugs Life, a lot of licensed movie games. Just
Oh
kidding.
my god, Bugs Life.
No, actually,
I actually played a
me
game,
too.
completely forgot that shit existed.
I actually do. I do have a fondness for Toy Story 2 and A Bug's Life, but they weren't necessarily very good. But they were enjoyable for a kid who fucking loved A Bug's Life.
I thought Toy Story 2 was bad.
I don't think I
Uh,
beat it, but I never like didn't have fun playing it. You know.
I remember I would just went like I got obsessed with 100% in it and just get everything in it.
Hmm.
So by the end, I think I was very jaded on the game. I was like, "Fuck this game, fuck it." Um, at first I had fun though. It just I remember controlling kind of weird, not liking it.
Yeah.
But I remember A Bug's Life, and I remember liking the game. I don't
Yeah.
remember much of it though.
Yeah. It's. I'm actually considering buying it again because they also made it for PlayStation and it's on the PlayStation Network now, so I'm seriously considering buying it again.
Just out of nostalgia's sake.
Yeah, just check it out, see how it aged, be like, oh man, this game fucking sucked. Why did I like this as a kid?
You know what? You might even see what you liked.
Mm,
Because I remember licensed games back in the day not being that bad.
yeah, I was pretty interested. Like, if I was interested in the movie or show that it was based on, I'd check the game out.
Yeah, same. And usually it was at least decent.
Hmm. And usually for me, even today, if I'm interested in the property, I kind of forgive some of the shortcomings. Like I won't get into this since it's not retro, but I was a big fan of the Alice in Wonderland video game that came out for the Wii and DS. That was pretty good.
Came out on DS as well?
Hmm.
Huh.
The DS version was completely different, but it kind of like it was stylized, if you will.
Alright, let's do this for later though, because
Yeah,
not retro.
we'll save that for the fairy tale podcast where we talk about fairy tale related video games and classic literature video games.
You mean the podcast no one will listen to?
Exactly. So we can talk about whatever the fuck we want.
Alright. Unlike in every other podcast.
But um, other Nintendo 64 games, man, I'm sure you've never played this because like we totally didn't talk about this, but this little known gem called Mischief Makers.
Oh yeah! God damn, I love that game so much.
You just like never heard of it.
Oh yeah, no idea what you're talking about, sir.
No, but man, that game was the bitch's tits back in the day.
Dude,
Still is today, but I mean, when I was a little kid, I played that game so much. Didn't even own it. Like we said before, I rented it. Just
mhm.
played it all the time. What about you, man? What about you?
Well, for one, I must point out that it actually holds up to this day.
Yeah, it does. Since Nintendo fucking refuses to release it on the Virtual Console, I downloaded a ROM a couple months ago. And it definitely does hold up today.
It's incredibly fun still, and I think it holds up well just because the gameplay is very unique.
Hmm.
Just like shaking stuff around it sounds weird as hell.
It does. It's a game that has to be not only seen but played to understand.
Definitely,
Well,
and
not
you need to give it like more than just 20 minutes because you won't get what the fuck's going on.
yeah, definitely. As a child, it took a little bit for me to appreciate that game. Like pl- playing it for a couple times, got farther in it, and then just realized, just like, wow, it's a really well done game. And I love like the levels where you get to change it from like vertical to horizontal and shit like that.
Like in the boss battles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember there was a specific boss battle with the eagle dude.
Hmm.
And first off, the thing I love about this game is that bosses change shapes and change. They just change everything. It's the same three guys overall,
Hmm.
but they always change. Like first it's mano a mano combat, and then you fight them in a vehicle of some sort, and then I think after that you just fight them all at the same time in like a Megazord kind of thing. If
Yeah.
my memory doesn't fail me, which I think it doesn't. But either way, the way you fight these fights is by yourself, just like you as you are. You're like a little robot girl called Marina,
Hmm.
and the weird thing about this game is that your only attack is grabbing stuff and shaking it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's pretty different.
I'm glad we're doing this with video because just the basic concept sounds incredibly fucking weird of shaking
Yes, it
stuff.
sounds like shaking, like Wario.
Eh, You know what? I hope someone thought that because that actually makes more sense
Yeah.
than just shaking. Do like, brrr, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, it is kind of crazy how it is pretty similar to Wario, because like it's
Well,
like
Sans
when
tackle shoulder.
because like when you shake them, doesn't like a shit ton of like gems and stuff come out.
Yeah.
So it's like the gold, but gems, and gems are cooler because they're colorful. Well, that's just me.
You know what I really like about the game?
What do you really like about that game?
The fact that after doing certain goals and getting S ranks, you got golden gems,
Hmm.
and then at the end, when you beat the whole game, you get an ending. But after the credits, you will see how many golden gems you had, and the counter will start ticking down. And depending on how many you have, is how far into the secret ending, quote unquote, you will see. So if you really want to see the whole ending, you need to get all the gems.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a unique way of doing things because it's like usually you gotta meet you gotta meet one requirement and you either meet it or you don't. But this, it's kind of like tiered off. It's like you just keep getting more and more each time you do it.
And that's one thing I always like about all games that I think is not impressing games is the fact that games were always like challenging to beat or whatever. There, you could always go that extra mile to get something cool, secret ending, secret weapon, secret something.
Hmm.
And now it's just like everything's for achievement, but that's it, nothing else.
Yeah, yeah, that makes it. And like, you remember back? This is retro related. You remember back in the day there used to be these things called cheat codes.
Cheat codes, cheat codes. I
Yeah,
think so. Like, I think I remember a Game Shark maybe.
yeah, and like, or like the Konami code. If anyone
Oh,
knows what Konami is anymore.
aren't they still around?
I don't think so. I think Metal Gear is kind of like on its own now. Castlevania, they don't make those anymore. I don't think.
That's impressive.
But like, in all seriousness, it's like that should like there just aren't cheat codes anymore, and it's sad because like now it's all DLC. It's like, hey, for $2 you can get big head mode. It's like, but that used to be a feature. Oh, now you got to
Yeah.
pay for it. And it's like, oh, that's just lame. Now they're nickel and diming you for like stuff that just used to come with the game.
Like the full game?
No, just like cheat codes, like
No,
infinite
I
lives.
understand that, but what I'm saying is that now, even sometimes together, like parts that are tied into the story or parts that are
Oh,
quote unquote extra chapters that are obviously not extra, they're part of
oh,
the development process of the game.
yeah, like Prince of Persia, the fancy looking one. I heard that one was a pretty big offender where you had to essentially pay for the ending.
Really?
Yeah,
I had no idea about that one.
fucking Ubisoft.
But man, like games back then had so many secrets and shit like that. Like just think about Donkey Kong 64
Mm.
with all the golden bananas.
Yeah, just and then each level had fucking bananas, letters,
Yeah, they're
barrels.
like yeah, there was so much stuff to collect and to actually feel rewarded for it, not just collecting for the sake of it.
Mhm. And yeah, like you were saying about like achievements and stuff, it used to build towards something, but now it's just collect collect 50 pigeons and you get an achievement. Woo!
Yeah, I really feel like achievements.
My gamer score went up. Yay!
I really don't understand the love for it.
now my now my e dick's bigger than your e dick.
Want to rub it anyway?
Or for the ladies, my e boobs are bigger than your e boobs.
Wait, girls play games?
Oh, touche. No, they don't. We just lost our only.
And that's how
we,
I'll get lynched.
yeah, we just lost our only listener.
No!
But
I was shaking my face dramatically, just so you know.
um, so also with the Nintendo 64,
Mhm.
did you ever get the expansion pack?
Yes, because I needed that for Donkey Kong 64.
I didn't get an expansion pack until like, let's see, like 20 years after the N64 came out. So like when it was first out, I never played Majora's Mask or the likes of Donkey Kong. So it was,
Really?
uh huh.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up, man. It is fucked up. Although one time we rented Majora's Mask, and we're all like, "Yo, this shit comes with the expansion pack, right?" And the person working there was like, "Yeah, yeah, dog." And then we like fist bumped and shit, 'cause that's what we did when we were kids. I'm sure you remember. We got home and that shit wasn't there, so we went back there with our 9 millimeters, and we're like, "Yo, we want a refund." And they're like, "Okay." Then we rented Paper Mario instead.
Oh, Paper Mario was so good.
That's not true. That was just a segue into Paper Mario. Well, I mean,
Because fuck Donkey Kong, is that what you're saying?
pretty much. Well, no. The game we were renting was a Majora's Mask, so if anything,
Oh.
fuck Majora's Mask.
Oh yeah, fuck that piece of shit.
Fuck that game. But no, Donkey Kong 64's. I rebought a Nintendo 64 probably back in like 2006ish, 2007, and
Mhm.
it came with an expansion pack. So the game I picked up Donkey Kong 64 and Star Fox 64, and Donkey Kong 64. I couldn't get into it. I never beat it.
Really?
Yeah, I just didn't like it too much.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if I just got tired of collectathon games,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I just didn't find it. I just didn't have enough interest in collecting everything, so I just kind of stopped playing.
Well, I do remember that collecting everything was a pain in the ass, but I love the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I didn't. It's not like I didn't think it was bad or anything, but I don't know. I just couldn't sit down and I just couldn't play it. But I will give credit where credit is due. It does have a badass intro.
With the Vicky rap,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
that's fucking amazing. I think everyone still remembers that rap. At least a part of it, a fragment or
Yeah,
something.
and it had a fucking cuss word in it. That was badass.
Fucking Nintendo, man.
Uh,
Nintendo's hardcore.
I thought it was for kids. That's not for kids. It's for
Well,
adults.
neither was Conker's Bad for Day.
Oh, that game. I
That game.
that game's hilarious because Nintendo's all kitty kitty, but then they release that fucking awesome game, and then the Xbox releases it, and the Xbox saw oh, I'm the adult console, but guess what? The Xbox version's censored.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think they censored word fuck,
Yeah, and
and they did something about a character's shape, right?
I don't know the shape for certain. You're probably right. I just don't know the specific instance. But yeah, and I think they even edited out the word shit, which is hilarious because there's a whole boss that just is
Yeah,
shit.
the Great Mighty Pooh.
Yeah, with one of the greatest songs in video game
Yeah,
history.
that boss was amazing.
I know.
Fucking opera and gaming. That's great.
It is great. And Conker's Conker's just an awesome character to begin with because he fucking starts out in Diddy Kong Racing as this little goody two shoe, like fucking
Yeah.
hyperactive as shit. Just you can just tell, like, there's no story in that game, there's no character development, but you can just tell Conker's like the nicest character in that game,
Yeah.
and then he falls.
Like everyone is a vicious motherfucker in that game, just trying to shoot rockets at each other. And Conker's like, oh, sure.
Yeah. And then just I don't know, something in between that game and Conker's Bad Fur Day, he just fell, man. He fell to the bottom of the barrel, and just
You start the game drunk.
yeah, which is fantastic, and it's a pretty good video game effect with the drunkenness and the distortion and what have you.
Yeah. That game was so amazing. I love the Matrix spoof in that game.
Yeah, usually Matrix spoofs are kind of like, oh, it's funny because the Matrix was popular, but it was pretty funny in that game. I enjoyed it too.
I love that scene. And I remember liking like most, if not all, of the game.
Mm.
I think I had like one scene I didn't like.
Which was that?
Um, the war scene. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that one even better because that was like the demo for the Xbox version.
Oh, really?
Uh huh.
I didn't know they added multiplayer for it online.
I never tried that. That didn't seem to make sense. Well, I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know, it just didn't seem too enticing.
I tried the multiplayer on Nintendo 64. That was really fun with friends. But I still think that the main core of the game was just the game.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that game was so good.
Was and the beginning gets bonus points because it's a fucking Clockwork Orange reference.
Of the chair.
Yeah, and
That's
him
yes,
narrating.
yes. You know what? Until now that you bring it up, I didn't think back on it because I haven't played that since I watched fucking Clockwork Orange
Yeah.
with a glass of milk. When I
Yeah.
was a kid, I was like, why does he want a glass of milk?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. When I was, 6 or however old I was when that came out, didn't make sense to me either.
I was like, what the fuck? But I really enjoyed that game. That was an amazing game. It had a lot of environments too, which I really appreciate. Like there was like the usual spooky shit, but there was like the war scene, the Matrix one,
Mm,
the space one. Yeah, just very varied, and I like that. I like
yeah.
variety in game.
Uh huh. Yeah. It was different stuff, and it wasn't really like the norm. Like Mario games, you always get your desert level, you get your lava level, you get your snow level. It's like you kind of like expect that kind of shit, but then in this game, they kind of instead of kind of going for an element theme, they go for a genre theme. So that's always
Yeah,
cool.
and I thought the dialogue was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one thing N64 was good for. It was kind of it wasn't obviously the first one to do, but it was kind of the pioneering in voice acting. You know,
Oh yeah,
Star Fox 64 with it, like one of the first games that was fully voiced over and
yeah.
that stuff.
When you fucking hear do a barrel roll, you go, holy balls!
it's it's an amazing moment.
It is, it is.
But do you have any final thoughts on Conquer?
That if you've never played it for whatever reason,
Do yourself a
go
favor.
fucking get it.
Definitely, and do yourself a favor and get the N64 version.
Oh,
The
definitely.
Xbox version's, the graphics are a little cleaner, but graphics don't matter, man. It's the content that matters.
Also, the graphics are not that much cleaner from what I remember.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but I think they're not that much better.
yeah, because I mean, like, Conquer was one of the last N64 games to come out, and
Yeah.
so it took full advantage of the N64, and they didn't go all out with the Xbox port. So yeah, it's not too much better. So yeah, you're just better off getting the N64 one, even if you just fucking download it wrong, because Nintendo and Rare sure shit ain't gonna release that game anytime soon again.
No, I think
Anyway,
things are going pretty bad between them.
yeah, so
Considering you don't even have Conquer or Banjo in Diddy Kong Racing DS.
it's disgusting.
It is.
It's
Destroying my fucking
I
memories.
know, but I'd like since we just spoke of it, Star Fox 64 is probably without a doubt my favorite Nintendo 64 game.
Really?
Indeed,
I don't get me wrong, I'm not saying really because I think it's a bad game or mediocre in any way. I'm just kind of surprised.
that is. Why are you surprised? Do you think I'm not a bad enough dude to like Star Fox 64? Is that what you're trying to say?
That is what I'm trying to say. Let's fisticuffs now, bro.
Fisticuffs. That's fine.
No, I just
I just heard that today.
for what? What fisticuffs?
Yeah, well, I mean, I heard someone say that today.
That's pretty
Yeah,
hilarious.
but anyway, that is it's just a game that I can go back, and it's awesome because it's short. It's like fucking 40 minutes long.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised. Like usually games that people love are people like longer games than that at least,
Yeah.
not just 40 minutes.
Well, that's because I can just fucking sit down, play that game from beginning to end, and it's just fucking fun.
I agree. I
And
think it's one of the best Nintendo 64 games.
and I just love the characters, the dialogue, bosses. It's just, I don't know, one of the most. And that was a Nintendo 64 game that I didn't own initially. I've rented the fuck out of that game, and then I bought it on the Virtual Console. Bought the 3DS version, just Star Fox the fuck out of it, and I don't know. I could just that's the biggest thing. Like the fact that I just can go back and play it all the time, and it
What I
just doesn't get
really,
boring. It doesn't get boring to me, and it might get boring to other people, but it just does. It never gets boring to me at all.
I don't think I ever got bored with a game. I really enjoy the fact that there's splitting paths everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool too. Cause like, do I feel like doing this time around, or do I feel like doing it the other way? You know, like, do I want to take the
Yeah.
easy way out, or do I want to take the hard way out?
Dude, and the thing is that as a kid, like there was internet, yes, but most people did not look walkthroughs and whatnot. They just
No.
played games and talked about them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find something now, you're like going to school the next day, going, dude, fucking phone around, dude, just fucking flipping out, and the kids were all flipping out, and I don't know. That was my experience, and I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, and like I was actually gonna bring something similar like that up a little bit ago. It's like when you were talking about like secrets in video games, like some video games still have secrets today, but everything is just like hacked to shit, and there's the internet to spread the word. So there's really it's so hard to keep secrets nowadays because someone
Yeah,
can just pop the game disc in the computer and fucking dump all of its data and find out everything that the game has to offer. It just
yeah,
ruins the
just
mystery.
guns. Yeah, definitely does. But I remember back for Star Fox 64, like for the first level, the one that everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
You save Falco, and then you go through the loops,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, "Oh, pretty smooth flying," and you just go through a fucking cascade and go to a different planet.
That's
The first time you see that, you're like shooting bricks, going. He first, I save him. Then he says something nice about my fucking smooth flying. And now he's taking me behind a waterfall that was not fucking there. It was just like fucking background.
I know
Oh my god.
it's so great. Yeah, because it's like Falco is such a dick, but he's like taking me under his wing.
Yeah,
It's being so
dude,
nice.
that's.
It's heartwarming.
I will pretend there's nothing sexual there. There's nothing kinky, and let's move on.
Agreed.
No, but really, it's an amazing game, and I love the final boss fight with Andros.
Mm.
It's fucking great.
Me too. Oh yeah, especially when like he fucking turns into the brain. You're like, what? He used to be a monkey, but now he's a brain.
Why in a fucking brain space? Oh yes.
And
It's good.
yeah, because like Andrew, he's such an easy boss, but then when he turns into that brain, it's still pretty easy, but it gets tricky sometimes. Especially,
I think the whole game is kind of tricky.
yeah.
I mean, it's not hard by any means. It's
Mhm.
fun but tricky. Not the fun where you're just like, oh yeah, I know everything. Just fucking man. Fuck it.
It's pretty challenging. I will like thankfully that the quest itself isn't like too hard. Like you said, it's tricky, but thankfully they're like it's not required. But the challenge is kind of getting all the medals,
Yeah.
so that's pretty cool. And did you ever get all the medals?
Yeah, I think I did it once.
Yeah, and that's really fun to do. And the payoff, you may not necessarily use it because I'm pretty sure it's multiplayer only, but it's still nice. It was a nice reward in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it is, and it is multiplayer only from what I remember.
Hmm.
But still, it was nice to just go to a friend's house because everything is saved on the cards.
Yeah.
Nice to go to a friend's house, bring your card, and be like, oh, look at this, we have fucking tanks, motherfucker!
What? Omar, you crazy dog? You crazy?
Fun times, man, fun times.
Uh,
That's something that I know it's very impractical, but I always enjoy that whenever I went to buy a new game, I always saw their save files.
yeah.
That's always something that always interests me, and I always try to aim for lower times and higher scores.
Mm.
I always thought that was fun to do.
Yeah, me too. I was big on that also.
But now, if you allow me, I need to play. I mean, I need to talk about a game that is very dear to me in a very creepy way.
Go on.
Shadow Man.
Ooh, Shadow Man.
Shadow Man. No one
Please
has
keep
reviewed
going.
that game, which kind of upsets me.
Yeah, well,
This was a big part of my childhood.
I never even heard of that game until you mentioned it.
That's the thing. It was not very popular.
Yeah.
It was made by one of those obscure companies.
Hmm. Dude,
Acclaim, I think it was.
okay, yeah, claims they're pretty legit. They were pretty good back in the N64 days.
Yeah, but now no one remembers them at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gone.
And dude, it's a great game. I mean, if you like horror games in the very least,
Hmm.
it's an amazing game. Like you are a guy who is pretty much a zombie, and the zombie not in like the old John Romero way of no, not that. Like the African voodoo zombie kind of guy.
Okay, well that's pretty cool because you don't really see that shit no more.
No, like everyone forgot where the actual mythos from the zombies came from.
Yeah.
So you are zombified by a voodoo enchantress that goes by the name Mamanetti. And she has a really thick African accent at the beginning of the game, which I think it's great. Even though it could be considered racist, I think it's fucking amazing.
Well, I think racists in classic video games just enhance their nostalgia.
Definitely, definitely, just like in cartoons.
Yeah.
But basically, what the whole thing goes is that there's a prophecy, and you know with prophecy it's always good.
Of course.
But the thing is that the prophecy says that there's the dead side, which is what it says, and the human side, and you are the guardian of the dead side. You are Shadow Man. You have like this giant mask embedded into your chest, which is like the mask of shadows or some shit like that. I don't even know. Point is, you're a guardian, and the prophecy says that there's gonna be five guys who will bring the apocalypse up onto Earth with Legion and blah 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 blah. But the cool thing is the characters. Like the very first guy you find in the intro is Jack the Ripper.
Oh, that's cool.
Legion goes to him because Legion is actually a character whose personification is a tall guy whose mouth is covered in blood, like from the stash to the chin, just blood. And he tells him of the prophecy and how I just like the mix of reality and fantasy here
Mm.
because in the game, supposedly the reason why Jack the Ripper kills people is to find their souls. He thinks he will find some power in their souls. So Legion comes in and goes, "You're right, but only in certain souls. They're called the Dark Souls." And he's basically saying, "Join me, and I'll give you power beyond what you can imagine and whatnot." He kills himself, goes to the dark side, and he becomes like one of the big guys. And there's five. So during the game, you just go find these Dark Souls. And it's kind of fucked up. You go to the dark side. Everything's covered in blood and corpses that are like zombies, kind of, but not really. They're just kind of in the limbo.
Mhm.
And there's blood everywhere. And then you get tattoos that allow you to like. There's waterfalls of blood, and it allows you to climb blood. You go through voodoo temples, and there's a lot of very interesting stuff that is actually on real mythologies.
Mhm.
They just made that into the game. So you go through temples, you go through cities and whatnot, asylums, and there's just a lot of room for character development. It's one of those games where you need to collect. It's like a little like Mario 64, like an adult Mario 64. You need to collect stuff to go through certain places.
Mhm.
You collect Dark Souls by finding these like cocoons that are impaled on the ground, and you shoot them with your shadow gun, which is like a soul pistol, and you collect the Dark Soul. Now, by doing that, you then allow yourself to go through certain passages that require X amount of Dark Souls. The cool part is that when you collect more and more Dark Souls, you're becoming stronger. This is also reflected on Shadow Man. Like his eyes will turn blue and they will start shooting light, and by the end, the same mask you have in your chest is like the shape that you have coming out of your eyes. Um, it's really cool, I think. And in the end, it's an amazing game. It's creepy as shit. It has a lot of things that shouldn't any game should not have, but I'm so glad that they do. Like this one part of the asylum is a kid's room, like a baby room. Like you see the cubes and the cradle and whatnot. And the whole soundtrack is someone laughing manically, cries, and a drill going into a puppy, like a going everywhere. I don't know. It's really,
Sounds creepy in a good
it's
way.
it is very. I think that's one of the most fucked up games I've ever played.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool.
Definitely.
That sounds pretty good, and looks like it was doing some research on it. Looks like it was also released on PS1 and Dreamcast, so
And PC.
perhaps and PC. So perhaps I'll be looking into it soon. Trying because it sounds good.
The second game though, Shadowland 2, from what I hear, it's horrible. I looked it up, and apparently you are shooting cops, or you're a cop, or something like that. I don't know. It looks really fucked up, and I don't recommend you play it at all.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. See if it was a worthy successor or not.
From what I've seen, it completely lost all the atmosphere. There's still the same references with the dark side and being Shadow Man and whatnot,
Hmm.
but it completely lost the same atmosphere it had in the first one. The first one, for example, when you go to the dark side, you are giving your mission,
Hmm.
you are giving the basics, that's it. Then you just like go. And there's enemies, but there's little music. The sound effects are all of enemies and moaning and stuff like that. It gives such a sense of desolation. It's amazing.
It sounds pretty good, and I'm still dumbfounded that I've never even heard of it because it seems like a game that's right up my alley.
It's an amazing game. Like also something cool is that since it's there's a very strong voodoo presence in this game,
Hmm.
you get voodoo weapons.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, you get like a spear. You get like a baton.
Hmm.
You know those rattling things that shamans shake around?
Yeah,
You get one of those and it shoots like balls, I think.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's an amazing game. I really cannot recommend it enough to anyone who is like a fan of horror games or actiony games.
Hmm.
Um, Again, it's really fucked up though, from what I remember. And that's the thing that drew me to it so much. I actually lent the game to like fucking 10 of my friends and I made them all play.
Scare the shit
Um,
out of them.
some actually could not stomach the game. Some actually just played the first level and went like, oh, fuck this shit, man, I'm out.
One of them just calls you at night and just starts crying. Like, what did you do to me?
Why did you give me this game?
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
A friend did have nightmares with that. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
It is pretty awesome. But seriously, like, I know games that are new and are horror, like Amnesia and what are scary,
Hmm.
but they're just scary because of the vibe of, ooh, scary.
Yeah.
This game does not do the same kind of scarcity. It's not gonna fucking show one monster that just walks around and then goes away. There's no sneaking around. The things you see here are going to kill you, are very aggressive, and are very determined to kill you. They will run with a fucking chainsaw to you and just try to kill you,
Oh
kind
man,
of thing.
chainsaws, nice.
Chainsaw. There's actually a couple of monsters that do have a chainsaw,
Yeah.
um, but again, it's a very violent game too. There's parts, those parts where you're like underwater trying to pass through spinning things,
Hmm.
like fans, but not really, and they're sharp, so you're not supposed to touch them. Sometimes enemies fall into them, and they get like grinded up, and you need to flow through like chunks of meat.
Oh wow.
It's a really fucked up game. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm done with Shadow Man.
You're done with it.
I'm done.
You're done.
I'm gonna need to go play it, dude. I cannot talk about it anymore. I need to play it.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to the end of our show, and this one's episode's gonna be a little shorter than we usually do, because we're experimenting. If you haven't noticed, with Vidya.
Indeed.
So.
So before we do, I just want to bring one last game that I think is one of the most precious games I have on Nintendo 64, and that would be
Superman.
yes, Superman 64. All right, now fuck off. Um, I really don't want to hear about that game in a long time. Bad memories.
Understandable.
Um, no, Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie.
Classics.
I love those games. I know everyone loves them, so there's not much to say here.
Mm.
But god damn, man, those games are good.
They are good. And Banjo Tooie, I as a family we had both of them, but I personally was the one who bought the second one, so that one it, is, biasedly is my favorite. So uh, that was the one I played all the time, and my favorite
I
part in that game, or what?
I was gonna say sorry. Go ahead.
My favorite part playing that game as a kid was when when you unlock Dragon Kazooie, because Dragon Kazooie's the best.
Yeah, she spits fire, right?
Uh huh.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about that.
Yeah. She spits fire. She turns scaly and green, and
Yeah.
you just play the rest of the game like that. So that was pretty cool, and I don't know. That's just unlocking that was sweet because I don't know. Dragons are badass.
Drums are pretty badass.
They are.
All I was gonna say is that I really think that Banjo 2 is better,
Hmm.
but I think it's one of the best examples of a sequel well done.
Yeah.
Not only did it add on what Banjo Kazooie was, it added us to what platformers should be, I think.
Hmm.
I really think it's one of the best 3D platformers in existence. I think it did everything pretty much amazingly. You have a bunch of power ups, you have a bunch of stuff to discover, a lot of worlds. They're very ample. I love the game.
Me
They're
too.
just amazing games, both of them, really.
And it just makes me sad the current state Rare's in
Yeah,
because
that's actually one of the things that actually makes me sad. I'm not saying no, that's a shame. It saddens me because with Rare, which is a fun, it's Rareware, and seeing I was a little Mexican kid, I call it Rareware.
yeah.
But the reason why I knew that company name, where all I knew was video game names, was that they made a bunch of amazing games I played.
Hmm.
Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, Conker's Bad for Day, Jet Force Gemini, another fucking great game. And instead of Banjo 3, we were promised and a good platformer, we got Banjo Nuts and Bolts. That's just,
Disgusting.
yeah. I was incredibly disappointed.
Me too. Like I don't know. It's just like looking forward to Banjo 3 it's just so much, and then they just shit on you.
Pretty much. Like, that's something as a kid I would look forward. I was like, man, Banjo 2, I can't wait for Banjo 3. And just fucking time passed and passed and passed, and we finally get it, and it just. I was actually gonna buy an Xbox if it had Banjo 3.
Hmm.
And then fucking. Fuck you, is what we got.
They saved you $200, man. You should be thanking them.
Thanks, Rare. Ah,
Thanks for
thumbs up.
thanks for making me not spend money. No, but
Uh,
yeah, just Banjo Kazooie. I think like I mean those games are like Donkey Kong collectathons, but they came first, so that was before I got tired. And but they're still fun. Like it's kind of funny because I almost act like I don't own an Xbox 360, but I just have so much apathy about actually hooking it up and playing it that I sometimes feel like I don't. So like there's nothing stopping me from going and hooking up my Xbox and buying those two games. And sometimes I
Wait,
consider doing it, but
Banjo Kazooie and Tooie?
hmm yeah, they have HD ports on the
Oh, wow.
360. Yeah, and there are times where I just want to go back and because I I haven't played them in a long time, but I'm pretty confident that despite the fact that they are just collectathons, that I could totally get back into them.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Banjo Kazooie and Banjo 2 are better games than Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah, and personally, I agree with that. Also, I think that might be another thing that kind of turned me off. Is just it was like okay, I kind of did this before with like Super Mario 64 and Banjo Kazooie, but I just don't think this is as fun. So that might have also been kind of a turn off.
Yeah, it's just playing a game that you think another game did better.
Mm.
Just kind of like, what's the point then?
And one thing that I'll never forget about Banjo Kazooie is the game over screen. And seeing that for the first time, that's always fun. I'm a big fan of game over screens. That kind of like shows what happens because
Oh
you
yeah,
fucked
yeah.
up. So it's
I
always
completely forgot about that. You're
yeah,
right, yeah.
and I don't know, it's just cool to see like because it makes you feel like shit. It's like you fucked up, and we're gonna show you what happens to the world now.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a game I think did a lot of things great,
Mm,
and it's a game that I think has a lot of features that newer platformers and shit don't do.
mm-hmm,
So I think it's honestly a game that has aged amazingly well, even though it's a collectathon.
mm-hmm.
But everything has personality in that game. For
It does.
example,
Yep, and it's almost like Mario where everything is alive.
yeah, like I still remember some fucking camel in the fire desert,
Mm-hmm.
one of those two, that you need to jump on its hump and it would spit water out.
Yeah.
And I don't remember for what, but still, I remember the character.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fucking testament to how good a game is.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm really highly considering getting my Xbox and hooking it back up and buying those games.
I think I'm gonna end up playing them sometime soon.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we're done.
You think we're done?
I think we're done, my friend.
Well, then we're done.
We're done.
We're done.
So thanks for tuning in, fellas.
And Kiz.
And yeah,
That's good.
I thought for a second we were saying kiss. I'm like, dude, we're recording. We're gonna kiss later. Shh.
Shh. Sorry, I got a little too excited.
Too excited.
Yeah, it happens.
Anyway, guys, hope you enjoy the podcast. If you have any comments, go ahead. And we will see you next week.
Sound like
That's our new intro.
you sound like a mentally challenged kid that just got told he's getting pizza for lunch.
No game pizza. I can go to potato and pepperoni.
Oh.
Oh.
I like that intro. Did you like that intro?